Caroline will be playing the Wurlitzer organ during this piece of the show. I've been working with musicians for a really long time. I don't believe I've ever been fortunate enough to be on the same stage with the Wurlitzer, and so as excited as I am about Caroline, I'm also quite excited about this instrument up here. So the poems...
This is only good with your voice.
Oh, can you hear both of us at the same time? Well enough? Okay. The poems that I chose are all from William Stafford's selected poems, and all the ones that I was moved to work on with Caroline are also from the end of his life. They were published around 1992, so just thought I'd let you know that. And the first piece is called Sky. I like you with nothing. Are you what I was? What I will be? I look out there by the hour, so clear, so sure. I could smile or frown, still nothing. Be my father, be my mother, great sleep of blue. Reach far within me, open doors. Find whatever is hiding, invite it for many clear days in the sun. When I turn away, I know you are there. We won't forget each other. Every look is a promise. Others can't tell what you say when it's the blue voice, when you come to the window and look for me. Your word arches over the roof all day. I know it within my bowed head where the other sky listens. You will bring me everything when the time comes. That's the first one called Sky. This is a poem called 3rd Street. They are watching me die. 6 years old and I'm dying. Diphtheria, they call it, and my throat won't open. And the doctor with a look at my mother shaking his head. Then the long needle stabbing my back. My dog Buster whining. Peggy holding her doll and crying. Shadows lengthen and reach up the wall. They jump. They are watching me die. Now, in the strange room of my head, my shadow escapes and floats away, leaving our street and the vinegar factory, on past the Santa Fe tracks and fluttery lights, over the diminishing river. How sad that Buster on his little rug will sleep alone, that Peggy's doll will stare button eyes all night at my pillow, my empty bed. If only my father could hold me forever and the world stay still. My little blue shirt, my elk-hide shoes, waiting for Buster and me to explore Alaska and all those ranges. I see our clean walls and the sparrow I killed with my slingshot, how it held out its wings and fell trembling into the dust. I will live. The doctor's black bag will save me. His long needle will stab again into my back, and Buster will howl. My father's eyes, I see them yearn me toward him and carry me drifting and weak to my bed in the room. Years later, my son will die, and that look will return. Something will break in the sky that was welded and forged back home by 1,000 pledges of truth. 3rd Street, I hold you here. And my throat will open. I talked with Caroline about how we have to be careful with poets. You know, a lot of poems are written in the first person. That doesn't necessarily make them autobiographical. I don't happen to know whether that is autobiographical or not. Either way, I think it's a powerful, powerful piece of work. And the last one that we're going to do together is called You and Art. Your exact errors make a music that nobody hears. Your straying feet find the great dance walking alone. And you live on a world where stumbling always leads home. Year after year fits over your face. When there was youth, your talent was youth. Later you find your way by touch, where moss redeems the stone. And you discover where music begins before it makes any sound, far in the mountains where canyons go, still as the always falling, ever new flakes of snow. Thank you. And a big thank you to Caroline. I feel like I want to be near the Wurlitzer for a little bit longer before I have to say goodbye to it for the night at least. I want to thank you all for coming, but also it just so happens that I'll be involved in a couple more events that are happening here in January, so I just want to let you know about those. On the weekend of the 24th, and I have some flyers over here for those who might be interested in, Artist Trust is holding a professional development workshop, and they've asked me to be on a panel as part of that weekend workshop. And so I think there's also going to be a photographer, and let me find out who the third person is. Yeah, on this panel there will be a visual artist, documentary filmmaker, and a musician, and the information is here. And then on January 31st there will be National Unpublished Writers Day, which was passed on to me by John S. Barber, who is a professor at Washington State University, Vancouver. It is an event that was inspired by Richard Brautigan, and Brautigan's idea for a library of unpublished writers, a place where people could bring their unpublished manuscripts and they would be collected by a librarian. So a library in Vermont decided to do exactly that. And John Barber, who created a comprehensive, amazing website on Richard Brautigan's life and work, managed to get that collection of unpublished manuscripts from Vermont permanently installed into the collection here at the Clark County Historical Museum. So this will be the first time that the event is being held here, and it will be here in this room. And the Unpublished Writers Day is for everybody, but I would say the main audience is people who are trying to get started and at the beginning of their journey as writers and wanting to get a little bit of advice and some ideas. So we're bringing some people like Dan Raphael, who's one of the best performers I know, and Sage Cohen, who's written a couple of really fantastic books on the writing process and how to get your writing out into the world. And then we'll end the day, this is January 31st I'm talking about now. It's going to be a day-long event, and we'll end the day with an open mic for anybody who might have come by or who just wants to share some work with us. And I'll share some work, and I'm hoping that some of our guest presenters that day will also participate in that. So. And if you head on to the website for the Friends of William Stafford, the events in January for William Stafford's birthday are pretty much everywhere, and they go on and on and on. So if you want to hear more William Stafford and read more of it out loud, just get onto that website and or take a quick look at the newsletter that was mentioned. And there are plenty more of these happening for the rest of the month, the second half. Tony, were you going to?
I was just going to ask you what the time frame is for the National Unpublished Writers Day and what the cost is.
Okay, National Unpublished Writers Day is free, and we'll begin at noon with a short talk by John Barber. When he asked me to take it over, I insisted that the first time that it was, under my control or whatever you want to call it, that we have him say a few words about the day and about Richard Brautigan and sort of officially pass the torch. I know he's very relieved that it's not, his thing anymore. I think he's happy to have it in able hands, but I thought it was the right thing to do to have us hear from John a little bit before we begin. So we'll begin at noon with him, and then we'll have presenters pretty much on the hour, so from that point forward, so that we can have time for Q&A, discussion, and things like that.
And it's free?
And it's free. The professional development workshop that I mentioned is something that you have to register for, and there is a charge for that, but Unpublished Writers Day is free to all, just like tonight's event. So thank you to everybody, and I want to say a quick thank you to Tiffany Berbershram, who follows me and documents my poetry activities, at least, and to all of you for helping to keep William Stafford's words alive. I want to thank you on behalf of the Friends of William Stafford for doing that, and there is something about, I think that one of the reasons that we write is to leave something of ourselves behind, right? So you would have to say with William Stafford that he is alive in that sense, that we are still talking about him and still reading his work and still trying to understand the work and go deeper if we have been reading for a long time. And so, it's really a great privilege to be any part of something like that, helping to preserve someone's legacy. So thank you for helping to make it a special night, and thanks again to Caroline for playing that wonderful music. That was really great. Thanks. I hope to see you all again soon.